How's it going, everyone? Sean here from Raw Technique Studios. I'm going to be going over my mastering chain, and the last time I put up a video on my mastering chain was back in 2014, so it's overdue for an update. I'll show you what I'm using. I am using a couple of the same plugins, but I have added in several plugins as well and taken out a plugin. So let's go ahead and break that down, but first I want to show you what it is that we are going over so you could hear the final product.
Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches.
That's the mastered version, and then let me show you what just the mix sounds like.
Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches.
Alright, so the number one thing when going into mastering, if your mix doesn't sound good, then your master is not going to sound that great either. So you have to have a good recording to be able to get a good mix, and then a good mix to be able to get a good master. So I feel like that mix was good, and now I can move on to my mastering stage. So the first thing I like to do, and I've done this ever since back in 2014 when I made that other video, is this solid state Logic compressor. So throw up the SSL compressor, same thing. I like to go to the mastering setting here, and then sometimes I'll play with the attack, back it off a bit. If the drums feel like they're getting compressed too much, then I'll back this off so the initial transient isn't hitting. So let me just show you. Let's turn it on.
To walk you all the way. Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your
So it's barely getting any signal here.
aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Scatter Thunders. And how to go get it and clothes burning. Couple knots on your chest, can't tell you nothing. Remember when I...
So what I do different now is I don't go all the way up to 4 dB of compression, because I notice in a lot of songs when I get 4 dB of compression, I'm getting it's pumping a little bit too much. It doesn't sound as clean and clear. So what I'll do is try to stay around the 2 dB of compression, and then on my makeup gain, you can see here I'm putting in 1.4 because I'm barely getting any compression on this.
Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes.
But notice the difference. Even though it's very minimal on the compression, you could still feel it fattening up the signal. It just sounds a little bit thicker. So here's a little before and after.
You all the way. Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Scatter Thunders. And how to go get it and close.
Alright, so it just sounds a little bit tighter and a little bit fatter. So that's what I do on the compressor. And then I throw up this J37 tape emulator. And I have my own setting that I load up. I have it saved in here. And you can see from the screen I use the 815 formula with 15 inches per second on the speed. A little bit of saturation in here. But let's go ahead and listen to the difference.
You all the way. Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Scatter Thunders. And how to go get it and clothes burning.
So I noticed two things when I add this to my mastering chain. The vocals become more present, and the kick in the center sounds a little bit more present as well. So just the center information sounds a little bit more pushed forward, and it comes through the mix a little bit more. So that's why I like using this. If I ever have a mix that I feel like it could use a little bit more in the center as far as vocals and kick, then I'll throw this on and it brings that forward. But if it's already very present, then I won't use this. So this one's optional, and on this mix I felt like it needed it in the mastering chain. Up next, this is a newer one that I didn't use on my last one, my last video. So this is the UAD Oxide tape emulator, and this thing has same thing. You could choose 15 or 7.5 inches per second. You could choose which type of EQ to use, and everything else. Like, I changed the input and output. So if I'm getting a lot of override in the signal, then I'll back off the input, but I'll also make it up on the output. So whatever I do on this side, I do the opposite on this side. If I needed to add to the signal, then I'll reduce from the output. So I'm not trying to overload it. What I'm trying to do is stay somewhere around this 0 on the VU meter. So let's give it a listen. I'll start it without it and then put it on.
Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Scatter Thunders. And how to go get it and clothes burning. Couple knots on your chest, can't tell you nothing. Remember when I told you I was the best, thought I was stunting. And I'm clocking my digits, making my numbers. Buzz building on the come up. But sometimes.
So this has a huge difference as far as the sound goes. The EQ that it has on it, so this little part right here, when you flip it to the top section, you get a lot of high end. So a lot of high end information comes through. It makes the vocals just sound super clean and clear. And then right here on the IPS, if you go up to the 15, the bass just sounds so fat and it stands out a lot in the mix or in the mastering chain. And if you go to 7.5, it's not as much. So just to show you the difference, here's 15, and then I'll bring it down and then back up.
Way. Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Scatter Thunders. And how to go get it and clothes burn.
All right, so the one thing that I really noticed is the difference in the bass and the kick drum. So if you want a more present, fatter bass, then you'd go with the 15. If you want a little bit less, say you already have a lot of bass going on in the mix, then you could go with the 7.5 instead. You can see with my input, I'm only getting about -5 to -3, so I could increase this and then back this off. So just to show you.
The doors, you know I'm down to walk you all the way. Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Scatter Thunders. And how to go get it and clothes burning. Couple knots on your chest, can't tell you nothing. Remember when I told you I was the best, thought I was stunting. And I'm clocking my digits, making my numbers. Buzz building on the come up. But sometimes when I'm chilling, I start to wonder how shit would have been if.
All right, so that's what I usually try to do is get right around that 0 on the VU meter here. And then you just, whatever you do on this side, opposite on this side. And to be able to test the difference between everything running through this system, if you go over here, you could turn it off and on so you can hear the difference.
All the way, girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter.
All right, so I really like how this plugin sounds, and I use it on about like 90% of my songs that I master. And every now and then it doesn't sound right on a song, so I won't use it. But I found myself using this very, very often. All right, so up next, I'll throw on linear phase EQ. And this is just to filter out any low-end rumble that I don't really need. And if the highs are coming through a little bit too much, because this Oxide plugin does add a lot of high-end, sometimes it comes through a little bit too much, so I'll just shave off a tiny bit. So here's a little before and after. And this, you don't really hear much, but it's there just to filter out.
Staying in Arlington after school, I be waiting at the doors. You know I'm down to walk you all the way. Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart.
All right, so it's just to clean it up a bit. And then I move on to, this is my newest addition to my mastering chain, which I really love how this thing sounds. It just makes it sound more professional. Like the mix, everything I've put it on so far, it just gives it that little polish. And not every single time, I don't use the same settings every time, but I like the TG desk on. The generation, usually I use print, but on this song, it sounded better with the lacquer. Turntable, I like the DJ sound, and the cartridge, the DJ sound. It feels like it's just more forward and bright. So those are the main settings that I use. I like to turn the noise off, the crackle off, and the clicks off. If you want more of that old school vinyl sound, you could add in these noise, crackle, and click stuff. They also have wow and flutter, which you could add in here. This little setting, the slowdown, is really cool. So if you ever needed a slowdown effect, this is one way to do it. So let me just give you an example.
Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties.
But that's just a cool little feature that's added in there. The tone arm, this just shapes the tone. So, first before I get into that, let me bypass it and then turn it on so you can hear the difference.
Walk you all the way. Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Sky the Thunders. And how to go get it and clothes burning. Couple knots on your chest, can't tell you nothing. Remember when I told you I was the best, thought I was stunting. And I'm clocking my digits, making my numbers. Buzz building on the come up.
It just sounds polished. It sounds clear. It sounds more present. And everything I've used this on so far sounds great. So this is something that I've been adding in on my masters very often. So now back to this part, the tone arm just shapes the tone. So you could mess with it and see what sounds best for your song.
I'm down to walk you all the way. Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart.
So it's up to you. It's very subtle, so you're not going to hear a huge difference, but there is a little bit of a sound difference there. And that's it for that one. And then lastly, I jump into my limiter. I used to use just a basic limiter, which is this section right here, but now I'm using the multiband compression addition to it. So I do the same thing. I just quantize down to 16-bit. I leave the dither at type 1, shaping at ultra, and then what I'm going to do is back this off. So it was at minus 4.9, but let me just give you an example here. So I'm going to press play, bring this down until I'm hitting it to the point where I'm not getting any reduction in volume or pumping or anything like that, but I'm getting some basic, about -3 is usually what works out on the meter, but the meter's not always correct. You have to listen to it. So just listen for how far can you come down without messing up the sound.
Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Sky the Thunders. And how to go get it and clothes burning. Couple knots on your chest, can't tell you nothing. Remember when I told you I was.
So right here, I'm starting to get a little bit of a pull down on the bass.
Best, thought I was stunting, and I'm clocking my digits, making my numbers. Buzz building on the come up.
So notice how when you get down too far, the bass starts disappearing and the vocals are the only thing coming through.
You all the way. Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks.
So let's go over this part here.
Doors, you know I'm down to walk you all the way. Girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word.
So this part where it has that more of the mids, that nasally mid section, I did a little bit of a reduction here at -2.2. So let me show you the difference.
Got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario.
I just felt like it cleaned it up a little bit right there by doing that. A tiny bit of gain on where the vocal clarity is here. So I did a positive 0.2 gain boost there. For the top end, I felt like it was a little bit too harsh. So I did a little bit of a reduction in that section. And then on the low end, I just made it to where I left it at 0 on the gain, but I changed the priority so it's not over compressing those sections. So by turning my priority up, it does less compression in that section. So let me show you the difference between 0 and 5.
It at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back.
So that got me at the max, like -5 or so. So if I bring the priority down to 0.
A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way.
You can see it's coming way down here past 6. So I didn't want it to be pulled down that much. So I put the priority up to about 5. And then same here, I did the priority up to 9 because I wanted to keep it from compressing too much.
Back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Sky the Thunders. And how to go get it and close.
And then you could test the difference, whether you like your multiband compression or not, by bypassing, because I'm not adding any level yet. It's just straight up the threshold and the output's exactly the same level. So no levels being added. It's just simply my multiband compression that we're listening to. Here's before, and then I'll turn it on.
Hey, girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Scatter Thunders. And how to go get it and clothes burning. Couple knots on your chest, can't tell you nothing.
I feel like it just made it sound a little bit more clear. And now what we could do is put our output ceiling back in. So this is where it's going to get a little bit louder. I'm going to bring this up to minus 0.2, give myself a tiny bit of headroom, and then here's the final product.
Way, girl, you captured my heart over a summer. Remember word got around, you was kicking it at your aunties. A couple blocks over up the street from my mama's. This love go way back like quarter cakes and fruit punches. Playing Mario Kart and Scatter Thunders. And how to go get it and clothes burning.
Alright, so that's the final product. That's my mastering chain. If you guys haven't already checked it out, look at my new membership on my website here at rawtechniquestudios.com, doing members giveaways, critiques, questions, tips, discount codes, mixing discounts, premium courses, all kinds of stuff here in the membership. So definitely check this out if you haven't already. Also, I offer online mixing, which comes with mastering for free. Premium courses to get all of this type of information that we just went over in this video, but even more detailed, with several videos breaking down the process. And then I have my free YouTube videos like the one you just watched, so you can check all that out here. And if you want, start with a free mixing course here where I go step by step on how to mix a song in the style of Drake's song 10 Bands. If you're interested in that, just go ahead and sign up here. You'll get an email with access to the video, the stems to practice along with, and all of that. All right, so thank you guys for taking the time to watch this. Hopefully it helped you guys out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.